Yeah. Hi, Emily. Thanks so much for being with me. How you doing today? What's up?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm, happy to see some sunshine today. It's Chicago
Yeah.
nice, so I can't complain.
Okay. I actually like cover up my windows. So is it actually sunny
It's
out there?
beautiful. Yeah, it's
Nice.
55, sunny. Like I'm running around without a jacket today. It's really nice.
Beautiful.
I mean,
Okay.
especially compared to the snow yesterday. So,
Right. Right. Ups and downs here. It's Chicago weather. You get what you pay for, as we say.
yep.
Um, cool. So we know each other because of probably because of Kenzo Shibata and
Yeah.
also being involved in Chicago DSA. I wouldn't say I'm involved with Chicago DSA. I went to my first meeting, but you are, and we know each other through Kenzo. We've had you on. Is that right, Emily? On the Meet the Left
Yeah,
show, or
I was
pardon the
on
ignorance?
the Comrades Giving. I was on that
All right.
stream.
Great, great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's the connection. Emily, if you don't mind, go ahead, introduce yourself, your name, your pronouns, and what you do, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, my name is Emily. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a social worker in the city of Chicago. I especially work with formerly homeless individuals, and I am also a socialist and organize with 48th Ward Neighbors for Justice. I think that's all the hats I wear.
Oh, wow, yeah, a lot of hats.
Yeah.
You're busy.
Yeah.
Cool. And folks, yeah, Momrad Emily is your Twitter there. All right. Well, that pretty much takes care of what keeps you busy, huh?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
who needs free time, really?
Exactly. So then, Emily, we're blazing right through this. What do you know? What do you say here? Let's talk about your leftward bound journey. This is a little chat, a discussion about your pathway to leftism or left adjacentism. We make it a point that you don't have to define your ideology, your politics, if you don't want to. You're welcome to, if you like to. How about we just sort of start from there and see where the conversation goes?
Yeah, I was just thinking about this actually. So I'm from Texas originally, and so I was fairly radical for Texas, but not a socialist yet until I moved to the city. And even then, it took becoming a social worker before I really decided to organize with socialists. To me, that was the way forward, to not just lose my mind with all of the shit that my clients have to put up when I have to put up with, and the world has to put up with. To me, it seemed like socialism, democratic socialism, was the way forward. It's not perfect, but I was thinking this week about when I watched the riots in Ferguson happen. That was when I first was like, no, police abolition. And that's kind of, I was lucky to have some really radical professors in college. So honing my views to be like abolitionist, to be more less government, less corporations. And I didn't have a name for it. So, but I mean, and also that, and being, growing up queer and brown in Texas, like there's a lot of good ways to get radicalized there. But just radicalization, not just radicalization, but like finding something I can do about it other than being mad on the internet about it. I think that was the key point for me.
All right, Emily. And I think I did forget to mention here at the top, but of course we've invited you in the spirit of building leftist unity, strength, and power. And it's great being able to share that with someone that I believe already knows what I'm talking about, where that comes from, the great Karen Lewis, rest in power. Passed that down through Kenzo, and it's reached me, and it's given me some focus and some guidance here. And that's one of the reasons I do the show. So anyways, in that spirit, you're a wonderful person to invite, and I really appreciate you being willing to talk. Let's talk more. Is there anything else? Are there any other aspects of in your leftward bound journey, aspects of politics, any leftist theory that you've read or learned about, any specific ideas, thoughts, anything in history, your personal experiences? You've already pointed to a few. Anything else that helped to pull your heart or your mind to the left?
Yeah, I mean, the deciding factor for me to actually join the left and not just be mad was right before I graduated grad school. I was involved in the University of Chicago's graduate student union strike. And during I think it was about 2 weeks, we had some friends of mine put together an event like, if you like this and you like strikes and, organizing, here's some other projects. And Sean Estelle, who is now a DSA NPC member, which is our governing body, was there to talk about democratized ComEd. Everybody has these like really cool stories about what brought them to socialism. And I really just wanted to stick it to ComEd. I was really tired of my super high ComEd bill. I was tired of, we weren't even able to have conversations about having renewable resources, having green energy. We couldn't be at the table. And so learning more about that was what finally kind of flipped me over from socialist curious to socialism. And from there, just being able to like not just see problems. I know like one big thing right now is the ban on rent control is actually getting closer to being lifted, which is huge. So not just seeing the problems, but finding solutions that we can move forward to is really huge for me. It's a better world is possible, and I like how many different ways we can fight for that better world.
You wanted to stick it to ComEd.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't? But yeah, it's amazing how it all starts.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a different path. It's always fascinating asking about that and learning more. I don't know. Anything else that you wanted to mention on your leftward bound journey?
I've just been really glad for having all the comrades around me to help shape this view. And also just, I joined 2 years ago and being able to see how far I've been able to come on like vocalizing how I feel, but also just seeing the change that Chicago DSA has been able to enact in the city. Mm-hmm. I joined after we got alders elected, but we've done a lot of work and we're changing conversations. And I think that's really huge.
Well, how about we got plenty of time. I'd wonder if you'd be open to chatting a little bit about your experience with CDSA. As you know, the only experience I have is being like a member of, giving them $5 a month. I'm a streamer, so I'm like, where's my emotes? I feel like they're ripping me off. But I also noticed that they send us these mailers, and that's great reading. That's great socialist reading right there. But I went to the first meeting that I've ever been to. It was sort of the first one, I believe, in a long time that y'all have had, the general chapter meeting, and it was pretty wild. I don't know how anyone could like get into that. However, of course, I'm just trying to find maybe, there's probably other meetings I got to go to. I got to find my place in the organization and where my skills and how I can lend my time, et cetera. So, how about we chat about how you got into Chicago DSA and what you do with them. If you want to go take a little time and chat about that.
Yeah, I do quite a few things. I'm on the executive committee. I'm a member of the steering committee of the North Side Red Line branch. I'm the communications co-chair for Democratized ComEd. I think those are the two, and like trying to stay plugged in with a few different projects, but those are the two big things that take up my time with CDSA. Okay. So lots of emails, lots of Zoom calls. Okay. I think what you said about really finding your lane within the CDSA, I mean, we're a 3,000 member organization. It can be really hard to plug in, especially in Zoom. I've been so impressed by all of our comrades who have joined post Zoom and like how do you get to know people? I'm just continuously like, how do you find a new project? Now, a lot of the people I've talked to, like, well, I saw this Week in CDSA from Sarah, and I thought it looked interesting. But that's like, I think it's so hard because part of being able to build together is knowing each other, and it's so much harder to get to know people over Zoom. And just, finding out what's going on. The 5-hour general chapter meeting was maybe not the best place to learn what's happening in CDSA. I don't think that was our best. I think it was important. We got a lot of good work done. We're already planning for the June meeting. And also, that's not the space to like learn about our campaigns and our working groups. And that's okay. That was our problem before, but when we would meet in person too, it'd be 3 hours sitting in the CTU hall, going through Robert's rules there too. So it's fundamentally was the same thing of just one long bureaucracy, a needed bureaucracy, an important one. But it was a 5-hour meeting, so my poor pets were just losing their minds at the end of it. But it's important, and I think what I like about CDSA being so big is you really can just choose your own journey, and if something isn't happening, you can make it happen pretty easily, I would say. But we've got our fingers in housing justice. We are one of the biggest public power campaigns in the country with Democratized ComEd. We used to have a Medicare for All campaign, and I know we're exploring how to bring that back in a Biden administration era. We're covering a lot of, and if we're not doing it, we know somebody who is doing it. And I think we're a place where you can actually go and do something. It's not, you can be a paper member, you can just show up to the 5-hour meetings if for some reason that's what you want to do. There's lots of good ways to get plugged in. We're, trying to explore what that'll look like on the branch level as well, but just getting to know your neighbors as well. Mm-hmm.
I wonder, and if you've touched on this, I'm sorry, Emily. I wonder if you would mention, what was your impetus to join Chicago DSA to begin with? I was reading in that mailer I mentioned from the DSA that I read a little quip, an alleged quip that's attributed to Eugene Debs that says a socialist who isn't organized is a contradiction in terms. And I wonder what was your impetus?
I don't know if I would go that far, but I'm also not Eugene Debs. But I do think it's a lot easier to be a socialist with an org behind you, because I think it's meant to be a collective rise of power. And I think for me, I was an intern I'm in my first salary jobs I've ever been in the city of Chicago this year. Every other job was either I was waiting tables or I was an intern. So you see, lots of things. You're like, wow, sure wish I could do something about that. And I could call my alderman all I want, although I didn't even know who my alderman was until about 3 years ago. I can write to the mayor. I can show up to protest, but I'm doing that by myself. And that's fine. And that's really good. And I think that's a good start. And that was what my political journey was for the first 3 or 4 years I lived here. But to do it with the weight of an organization behind you brings a lot more. And so in my neighborhood group, we do a lot of phone zaps to our alderman, where on the hour someone's calling him every 2 days. And he hates it, but it gets results. We get answers from him. We get answers from his staff. That's a really popular tactic, especially right now, because it's COVID safe. But you call at 9 a.m. say, what does Alderman Osterman think about the housing ordinance? He's the chair of the housing committee. What is he doing about these ordinances? And then somebody's at 10 and somebody's at 11. You do that for 2 days straight, you're going to annoy them into getting an answer. And that's a lot harder to do if you're not organized. I mean, it's possible, but those kinds of really concerted, like pushing, getting people to commit on record to ordinances, getting people, and electoral politics isn't the only one, but that's I think a really good example of why you need to work with an organization, because it's bringing to bear a bunch of voices. So you can get answers. We did that with, a year and a half ago during the teacher strike. We annoyed George Cardenas into giving us answers on the ComEd feasibility study, because 5 or 6 people went up during public comment period in a row. And again, and obviously Mr. Blakemore was there as well, Chicago's famous commenter. He's a Chicago institution. He shows up to every single city council meeting. Oh. Yeah, he's like Ronnie Woo Woo of Chicago City Council. Yes, yes.
Hopefully he doesn't scream as much. Okay, yeah.
Yes. Oh no, there's a lot of screaming, but it's
just
as
good. Much screaming. Yeah. But no, he doesn't have a personalized jersey though.
Not yet. I think that should be his next move now. Yeah. So new people get to know him as well. Mr. Blakemore, to my knowledge, is not organized, and that's why he is by himself. He's at the city council. He sits by himself. He's saying the same things. He's making change, but it's a hard journey to go alone. And I don't know Mr. Blakemore. I'm sure he's great. I don't want to say anything about him. But I think it's a good example of you can have, I think people are really organized around puppy mills in the city of Chicago. That was a big part of public comment this week. I love their energy.
Puppies.
I don't understand it.
Whatever.
Puppy mills are bad, obviously, but like maybe read the room. But that was organized. There was people coming in, reading from the same Google Doc, and they got their ordinance passed.
And then they learn how to organize, yeah. And then they learn tools.
And it's exactly. And those are tools that are super applicable. I mean, I use it in my day job to get landlords to do what I need them to do. It's tools everybody should have, and you can learn.
Hey, that's really good stuff. Okay. So, Emily, now I'm sorry. I just want to let you feel free to share anything else in your leftward bound journey before we move on.
I think the biggest thing is just join an organization. I'm in 2 very good organizations. So I get to annoy people at the hyper-local ward level, at the city level, and I've been also involved at the national level. And so I get to yell at all kinds of people with my friends. So it's real great.
So I've only learned how to yell at people on Twitter, but you've learned to take that to the next level. And there's ways to level up, kids. If you're watching from home, take notes here. Study this replay. Okay, so Emily, we've talked about what you do. We talked about your journey to the left. Excuse me, some important steps along the way. Now we can distill those experiences, perhaps, and share with if you, I don't know, imagine going back in time, talking with a younger version of yourself, but really more realistically, we're sharing with future generations here. What might you share given the opportunity?
I think, honestly, not to keep harp on it, but join an organization sooner. Yeah. I think I would have felt a lot less anger towards the state of affairs. Because CDSA is the first organization that wasn't a college club that I formally joined and organized with. My other organizing experience, I worked on a gubernatorial campaign in Texas, which was really cool, but it was as an individual. I was a fall fellow, so I did the last 3 months of the Wendy Davis campaign and got the vote, which is good. And that was organizing, but it wasn't with an organization. And I think, watching a lot of frankly, the tragedies we've seen in the last, I've graduated college 10 years ago, and a lot of shit's happened since then. And there's a lot of things that had I been housed within an organization, it wouldn't have prevented it, but it would have made me feel less anger and helplessness, and helped me kind of form a worldview earlier. I'm not that old, but helped me again move from just yelling on Facebook to yelling on Twitter, to yelling at aldermen to their face, which is very satisfying. I really recommend it. But I think it can be really isolating. And I think, capitalism really thrives on that isolation. It thrives on everything's terrible, you're never going to do anything about it. And that's a really demoralizing stance. And so to get involved with an organization like Chicago DSA, like 48th Ward Neighbors for Justice, makes it, everything still sucks. Capitalism is still there, but a better world is possible. I think that's the one thing I would go back and tell myself, what I would urge anybody else to do. It doesn't have to be the DSA, but I think DSA is a great org. But just joining a leftist organization, because it's very cool and radical to fight back together.
It's pretty badass and cool and radical. Absolutely. Oops. Hey, Emily. You're back. Let me just sort of fix these things here. Oh, and let me start the stream. It's weird how things get wacky. Yeah, again, sorry about that.
You're fine.
I'm not really sure what that problem is. I push my GPU to the limit, I believe, and sometimes it's like, nope, I won't do that anymore.
Love technology. It's so fun.
Everyone has fun with it. Okay, so I just got to make sure everything is ready to keep going. Oh my gosh. Gotta get the chat in the right place. Chat, are you back with me? How you doing? Restart to repair drive errors. Oh, fuck. That's not promising. It's like scary shit right there. Thank you for your patience. I'm like 2 minutes away, I think. Maybe a minute or so. Where were we? We were about... Oh, we were at the questionnaire.
Yeah.
Chad, are you there? Can you see me? Am I streaming to the right channel? I hope so. I'm telling you, I stream to Kenzo's channel on accident like once a month.
Oh, no.
Because like I'm still like logged in, you know?
That's
I guess,
a much... Yeah. I'm always afraid I'm going to post to the wrong Twitter because I have like 2 or 3 different like org Twitters on my phone, but I think this is that's another level.
Right. Okay, we are live. We're doing good here. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, Emily, thank you so much for bearing with me during a couple technical difficulties there. We do it live. That's how it goes here. We left off right at the Leftist Inquisition. That's the questionnaire. Everyone loves it. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So the first question, Emily, do you have like a favorite word? By the way, you can pass or skip any question. I don't care.
Favorite word? I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I don't think I do either.
No.
Why do I ask this question?
Maybe people do.
Some people do, yeah. It's a topic of conversation. I don't know. Like a least favorite word? If you don't have a favorite one, do you have a least?
I don't really like, not even the word moist, but like moist sounding words, like texture. You know?
Yeah, that's a good one, right? Because you ask people, what do you dislike about the word moist? And then you sort of like point to like another word that describes the same kind of thing. And they're like, oh, I hate that one too. And you're like, oh, you hate the idea, buddy. So I like how you've centered on that.
What it evokes. Yeah.
It's just disgusting. And then on to the drug. Favorite drug, a vice, a guilty pleasure. You can name one of each if you like, Emily.
I live alone and I try to, so I eat a lot of junk food. That's honestly, like, that sounds so fucking lame, but like, I try to limit my drinking. I try to limit my smoking. It's not good for so especially like Jewel does the like big slices of cake. I'll get one of those like every time I'm at Jewel. That's it for me.
Absolutely. You do fail the Chicago test. It's called Jules.
I know.
Oh, I was wondering. Okay. Okay, I'll let it slide. I'm
a bad Chicago.
We'll teach you yet. Do you have a thinking of sounds or noises? Emily, is there one that you love?
I have a noise I don't like right now, but the noise I like a lot is just like rain, especially on my little balcony, like on the wood. That's very nice. I went camping a few weeks ago. I went hiking, and it was like I was staying in a cabin with a tin roof, and it rained, and it was very, very just like calm and centering. The noise I'm not loving, I gave my dog a toy that I stuffed peanut butter in to keep her quiet and away, and not jumping in because she's 55 pounds. And like the noise of her trying to get the peanut butter back out is so unsettling, and I really hope it's not coming through on my microphone.
No, it's all good. No, it's all good. So funny, like a little Kong toy. What are those called?
That's it exactly. I froze it so it would be a bit more of a challenge for her. Big brain moves because she will jump in. I'm shocked that neither of my pets have come on join me so far. But we're learning. A year in, we're learning how to keep the dog out of the frame.
Yeah. Hey, good for you. Okay, then we've talked about the sounds and noises. Okay, now you've mentioned you're from Texas, so you get one answer to this question.
Okay.
What is your favorite cheese?
Cheese. Oh, sharp cheddar.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like a basic.
Oh, it's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
There are more basic cheeses, but that's a good cheese.
Yeah. But just like a good sharp cheddar is like, I'm good.
Let's go. Goes on so many different things. Let's go. Then the next up is the reincarnation question, which is if you came back as a plant, or a non-human animal, what would you pick if you had the choice?
I want to, this is really specific. I want to come back as one of my cousin's pets or one of my aunt's pets because they spoil the fuck out of their dogs. And that's what I want in life, is to just be like, you know, approximately a sphere from how fat I am because of like somebody taking care of me, loving me. Like, that's what I want in life.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful answer. Okay. Now we come upon the God question. If heaven and God are real, what would you like to hear God say as you arrive at the pearly gates?
Ooh. You didn't fuck up too much. End up with a lot of shit on me, and I hope I'm not fucking it up too bad. That's about it.
Seems like you're doing fine. I don't know. Stand far away, but so. Yeah.
I hope so.
Okay. Now, how about an influential leftist? Be them dead or alive. Who would you like the chance to be able to meet and chat with?
Honestly, you mentioned about Eugene Debs. I am not as familiar with his work, but I am I follow a Eugene Debs but like even before that, like just like really resonate with a lot of like what he was saying, what I have consumed about him. That's one thing that like I'm hoping to do. Like, I'm coming off a lot of my elected positions this summer, so I'll have some free time again. So I'm hoping to like, I have like a massive stack of books from Pilsen Community Books that I'm hoping to like read so I can like find like, oh, I'm a something-est. Like, I don't really have I'm working on my orientation, like my specific orientation, but I think Eugene Debs would be a very cool person to chat with.
Hey, that's great stuff. Okay. I don't know, knowing what you know about Eugene Debs, if you had a hypothetical conversation, how might it go? A couple different ideas there in the doc. Maybe you can ask them some questions. How might they answer? What do you think they would think about you? What would you hope they might think about you? What would Eugene Debs think about the world? You could take this any direction you like.
I think I would like to know just like what he thinks about like how we organize now, especially in a Zoom era, because it's so different than everything he would have conceptualized. And this is different than like the ideal world, obviously. But I'd really love to just like, there's so much debate on the left about like what's the right way to do this, or what's the best strategy. And I think that's not the right conversation. I think the conversation should be just like how do we win? It's what is it that Karen Lewis says is like, does it unite us? Does it make us stronger? And I forget the third question, but it's just like, it doesn't really matter how we get, it does, but like it doesn't how we get there as long as we're getting there. And I don't think it helps us to get stuck in the minutia of how we get there, as long as like, so I know some people are super anti-electoral politics, like, you know, no politicians, they're all bad. Like, yeah, but we've got some good ones here. You know, shout out our socialist alders. But without our good alders, we can't get to the point where we can eventually go full horizontalism, no government. Like, we need our politicians on our side for defunding and abolition. We need them on our side for municipal public power. And so, but I would love to see, like, what does he think about how strategy looks today? I'm sure all of these, there's nothing new under the sun. I'm sure before people weren't arguing about, like, oh, should we have our general chapter meeting on Zoom? It was, I can't think of what the similar thing, but just like people get so in the weeds on things that really don't matter. And I'd love to, also I want to know what didn't matter, but I think just, what did you think? How are we doing? Just to check in, you know?
Good stuff, Emily. Do you have a favorite leftist book or resource? Anything like that?
Yeah. I've been skimming through and I haven't had a chance to like deep dive and just sit down. But it's The Ballots, The Streets Are Both. It's recommended by like every organizer that I ever, let me see, I don't have it right next to me, but so I can't remember who it's by. But I've just really like so far, it's just like getting back to like strategy, like there's no one strategy that'll, you know, get us everything right now. there's pros and cons to everything. There's pros and cons to just full, black bloc, direct action, burn it all down. But there's also like drawbacks to that. That's not super sustainable long term, as much as it be. Also, there's like, yes, that one, the ballot, the streets are both. And it's just like strategy. What are you thinking? And so I think it's just like every organizer that I most respect and have like most followed has really recommended that book. I think it's just a really great way to conceptualize that, it takes to win against capitalism, to win against white supremacy. It's going to take everything we got to throw at them. So that's the one I really recommend right now for like socialist books. So
we can't just give up electoralism. Think of the damage that would be done in the immediate future. Yeah. I mean, we got to have power before we do anything like that. Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
Oh
exactly.
my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Good shit, Emily. Hey, now we get to sort of lighten up, as a viewer of perhaps streams. Do you watch like streams, any live streams like Twitch or anything like that? Twitch is a weird thing.
I've been getting more into it in the pandemic. I used to not be the first time I ever heard of Twitch was when Twitch played Pokemon like 5 or 6 years ago. That was the first thing. Like it never came on my radar until then. But especially in the pandemic, again, like I live alone. I put it up for like background noise while I'm working a lot of time. I follow like some people who play video games. I've been trying to catch more like actual like leftist streams as well, but just to like pretend there's something else going on. Like it's no, I can tune in and tune out while I'm like writing case notes and writing emails. I can mute it when I have to make a call. I'm not like a regular watcher of any one thing, but just like whatever is on is like if it's a game I recognize, again, for like the company.
Okay, so then this question, we can frame it any way you like. You watch some streams, you probably watch podcasts, content creation in general. I don't know, from your perspective, what tips would you give people as a consumer of these things?
Yeah, I know people get really wrapped up, like obviously it's your job to create content and then like have it be consumed, but I think it's still important to stay pretty authentic to like what you're interested in and what is a value to you. And I think that also, like I've seen some streams where the conversation, they're like non-leftist streams, like video game streams, is like, what does it mean to be like apolitical? And there's been some very fascinating conversations about like, you can say you want to stay apolitical, but there's people's lives who are in the balance whose lives have been politicized for them. So, statements like Black Lives Matter, statements like the police are harmful, those are not political statements, those are statements of fact. And just because it's not a fun, nice, happy thing to talk about doesn't mean it shouldn't be talked about. So it's been very fascinating to like see that conversation move out of like super radical spaces, because that's where I've typically had to have these conversations to like, people, they're playing Animal Crossing and then they're also talking about Black Lives Matter, and like have your happy fun stream, but also I don't think compromising your values. I don't think there's a value to that. So that would be like, as a non-content creator, but as a super feelings-based worker.
Beautiful, Emily. Beautiful. Okay, so that brings us to the end of my inquisition, but the questions don't have to end here. Just because I don't, it doesn't have to be entirely one-sided. If you have any questions for me, we can open it up to you. We can get the little back and forth going. I do have time to chat. And of course, if you have the chat pulled up, you can feel free to respond to anything there. Otherwise, if there are any interesting looking questions, I can present them to you and you could just skip or pass or answer anything you like. Okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. Well, I don't know. I don't see anything in the chat. So how about we begin with you? Do you happen to have any questions? Anything you want to chat about?
I think it's very like, how did you get into this, and how did you get into like wanting to, like, I'm sure this is a question you get a lot, but like getting into just like having these conversations, because I think that's super fascinating, because like I love the idea of just being able to like have these conversations and participate and like get outside of the Zoom bubble.
it's sort of like that. It's sort of like I like the idea of it, and it sort of blows my mind that no one's quite doing this show.
Yeah.
I'm like, it sort of feels like a gimme, and I'm not a very bright guy, so somehow I stumbled upon it. I got a simple little onboarding structure where I have literally, Emily, I've literally scheduled 62 interviews just for this month alone. So I don't know. The journey is new leftist. I'm entering a new space, a community with really important, diverse voices. I'm the bottom of the totem pole. So in sort of that sense, I'm sort of like the exact opposite of Ryan Knight, who wants to like waltz right in and be like king of socialism, king of communism, day one. Like that guy doesn't know a single fucking organizer. He doesn't surround himself with those people. And again, I'm not a bright guy, but I'm smart enough to do that because I know my place. So, you know, I'm trying to learn about what it is to be a leftist. I'm trying to learn about how to be a productive member of this community. And, you know, I'm trying to fuck up less and do more good things. So, you know, along the way, I've bumped into really important people like Kenzo Shibata. I look at him as my mentor. He's taught me build, you know, in any course of action. Ask yourself those 3 questions. Is it building leftist unity? Is it building unity? Is it building strength? Is it building power? And sometimes I like to joke and ask a 4th question. Is it building content? Because I'm a content creator.
Yeah.
I don't take that seriously. But seriously, those 3 concepts have sort of been my guiding light. I need to sort of like spread out. Hey, kitten. I need to love it. Hi, little one. I needed to sort of like do more content wise. And the interview thing was it just seemed like a lot of like, you know, Venn diagrams overlapping, and it just seemed like this is a great fucking idea. A lot of different things are being accomplished at one time, and on top of it, it's a lot of fun. I'm learning. I'm helping to build, you know, my network. I'm building leftist unity. I really like to believe that this is a slow thing. It doesn't happen overnight, but we got to start linking these chains together. And I don't know. It's just one thing that happened is like woke up a couple weeks and I'm like, oh shit, I can almost do any show that I want. And I bet all these people are out there wanting to do things, but they can't. Why don't I just do it? And demonstrate, number one, what you can do. You know, it's not like a debate. I don't debate here. It's very much not what this is about. And, you know, like I said, different voices, learning my place, just learning. Yeah. I try to take like a wholesome approach to things.
Yeah, I think that's huge, especially I think we've lost a lot with the pandemic, but it's been really hard to have these more what got you in these kinds of conversations and just like chat and see how other people like came to the same space and orient themselves. I think it's a really great idea, and just to like just come hang out, talk socialism. I think I love it. And I also I think this is a great format. So
Cool. It's a little work in progress. Things get tweaked as they go, but it's been a lot of fun. And yeah, I just sort of look at this, like I mentioned, as us sort of planting some seeds here, Emily, and we can look back at our conversation, sort of pluck out a couple of those, you know, things that are growing, and hopefully come back and continue the conversation and enlighten. I can hopefully let you enlighten me and my audience and take this to the next level. This has been truly lovely. Well, I suppose we'll go ahead and let you go. But like we said, we've invited you here in the spirit of building leftist unity, strength, and power. You've been a truly perfect guest in that sense. Really appreciate your time, your energy, and your candidness. Thank you for being a wonderful guest, Emily. We'll let you go, and you have a good one, okay?
Have a good one. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye. All right. Okay. That's okay. Don't worry about that. Oh, gee. Had a little technical difficulty. Hey, YouTube. You're watching a clip from my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/iDanSimpson, where you can follow for free and subscribe for only $5 a month. Thanks for watching.